Art is too important not to share. Welcome to the Allie and Callie Artcast.
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie, and we are with the Arts and Culture Alliance.
Yes, we are.
I almost forgot where we were from.
You almost forgot me.
Oh my gosh, I was going to go solo. Sorry, Allie.
It's okay.
It's all about Callie today.
It is all about, it's always about, no, it's not always
I'm
about
just
Callie.
joking. So how are you?
I'm good. I have been hearing from my grandson, Hendrik.
Yes.
Well, actually, his mother, who's
Yes.
in Thailand with Hendrik.
I know.
They get home next weekend, but
How fun.
They are having a great time.
It sounds like
and Hendrix, I've been getting these cute little videos of him.
Oh.
He's going to be 2 in May.
And enjoying that weather?
Yeah.
It looks lovely.
Yeah.
I've seen the posts of Chloe. Chloe says what? What is Chloe's?
Chloe says, I don't know.
I forget her posts. Anyway.
Chloe Simone says.
Chloe Simone says. Anyway,
Yes.
I see him every once in a while, and it looks like it's beautiful right now. In Singapore.
when they first got to Koh Samui in Thailand, which is where Chloe's sister lives, they were going down to the beach, and Hendrix did not like the sand at all. He was doing these funny, weird things with his hands. Like, Mom, you got to get me out of here. But after a few trips down there, he has conquered the sand, and now he's running all over the beach like a little
Yeah,
star.
see? Doesn't take long.
Yeah.
Speaking of sand, I will be going to San Diego soon.
San Diego!
So excited, and I haven't been there. It's been like 2 husbands ago. It's been a long time.
Wow.
So
I love how you measure time.
I know. It's just the best way. So I'm going there for my 25th wedding anniversary.
Oh, fun.
With my husband, 3.
Yay.
I like to call him my last husband.
Yes, the last husband. And we like Stu. Stu's awesome.
I think he'd appreciate that, as long as I don't go, well, he's number 3.
Right. No, I think the last
Because I'd like to not count the second one. The first one's fine.
Or say the best husband.
The best. Oh, he is the best.
The last and the best.
Yes. Well, he's survived. He's a survivor. Anyway, we're going to go to San Diego. He's actually working, but I'm going to probably play most of the time.
Nice.
Maybe read a few books and lay by the pool, and maybe
I also am going to San Diego.
I know you're going ahead of me.
I am going ahead of you, just not very much ahead of you, but I just found out that our friends Krista and Robbie French from Stylus
Are they
Wine
going?
and Vinyl are going. They'll be there the same weekend we are, and we're going to try to meet up while we're there.
Oh my gosh.
Yay! I'm
Maybe
so
I
excited.
should just go with you and have Stu meet me there. And then I could just be there for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be great.
That would be great.
Oh, well.
Although the weather I hear is not awesome.
Not as great.
It's better than here.
Well, it's chilly here, so I'll take anything.
That's okay. We need it to be chilly so we can get that shade cover up.
That's right.
In the park.
Exactly. Well, we got a lot of fun things going on, and it's a good month.
It is.
So, yay.
Well, we are very pleased to have a relatively new local artist in our house today.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy Holmes, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes.
Tracy is the newest studio on Art Walk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're in the
Rockford building.
Rockford. I always call it the big black building.
Yep.
It's a great
The
building,
Rockford.
by the
It
way.
is.
It's such a cool space. If you have not checked it out, go check it out.
Absolutely.
Very creative,
Yeah.
inspiring space, oozing with talent there.
Yes.
Just really wonderful, rare type of place. You know, every artist's dream to have a community of artists that you can go across the hall and see a sculptor or somebody a door down, and you've got a painter or somebody that's trying to figure out something. You're both gone. We're blocked. You need a cup of coffee. It's just really, really wonderful. And then also, there's that saying, iron sharpens iron, and you see somebody else's excellence, and you can't fake it in art. So, like there's a gal that I just love from the 1900s, Cecilia Baux, Baux, and reading some of her stuff, she's painted faces or things like over 100 times, and she's amazing. I brought her book just because I'm just so enamored with her. And it really helps when you're around an artist community, because you talk to yourself and you say, oh my God, I forgot how to paint. I can't do this anymore. I'm getting too old, or what's happening with my, but having this community there, it's such a gift. It is such a gift,
So how did you come to Coeur d'Alene? How did you choose this area?
Yes.
Okay. Well, McCall, in McCall, we've always been told Coeur d'Alene. It's just like McCall. It's like plus 50,000 people. McCall's 2,500. So, and my kids went to University of Idaho, and so finally we made it up here, and I just fell in love. There's just something magical about here. And I'm like, could have had a VA, So the second I came here, it was just like, oh my goodness. And we do have some friends from the University of Idaho, parents and things like that, who do live here. So we've gotten a little bit more of an intimate, not a tourist type of experience with it too.
Sure.
So, but I was just amazed with what you guys do with the arts here. It is a really special kind of wonderful here that you don't have in a lot of cities. The arts here are amazing. The work and the support that you guys have poured into this community, it's just, wow. Well, it's really wonderful.
Yeah, we're really proud of this community and its
the growth,
its excellence in the arts here, and feel like we have a multitude of talent.
Yes, absolutely.
It is amazing.
Now, your medium. To explain your medium, you kind of do a lot of things, but what is your main focus?
Yeah, I have a lot of loves. I was trying to think about that today. Like, what is my anchor, and really, why do I do what I do, and involved in what I love people. I paint sports. I kind of fell into sports and got put in a little category of sports artist. But some of my NASCAR and cycling, you'll see the crowds, and there's more. I'm in love with the crowds and the people, and excitement, but also just the human spirit, the transformation of the human spirit. And I always have wondered, about life, like, why are we here? What makes us tick, and how do people get through adversity? People commit suicide, rich, famous, and low. It doesn't matter. So, what is it that we embody? What is it that we need? What is that something special, And so what makes us tick? And getting through adversity in my earlier childhood as well, I would just like to read books about people who went through adversity. And not only adversity, were very wise and accomplished people later in their life. And so one of the things, sports, I think I just kind of fell on. My husband had a auto body and needed some posters in one of the locations, and it was next to a Porsche dealership. So I thought, I'll just order him some Porsche, race car pictures. Right. And by the time I was going to order these, and they were just posters. Yeah. The framer was making all this money, and I said, I'll just paint them for you. I'll just paint some race cars and things like that. So ended up doing some race cars and doing more artwork that kind of was around things like that, and got some free passes to NASCAR because I would just sit there and say, how goes Scott? How that's so boring to me, just going around and round and round. I mean, how many laps did I go around? Are you kidding me?
Know.
I
have no idea.
And that sound that you hear on the TV.
Yeah. I would rather be out admiring, the beauty, or riding my bike or something, or painting people, figure, But then when I went to a race and I was down in the pits and I had press passes, and seeing them change all 4 tires and gas a car in 14 seconds, and the adrenaline,
you got into it.
Shoot it up, and I fell in love with it. And the same thing with kind of like cycling. I wasn't able to run after a while, and I'd love to just put my shoes on and go for a run wherever we were. I could always just go out and experience, right? And I couldn't run anymore, and the doctor said, have you tried cycling? I was like, I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I've got work. I don't have time to ride my bike for 3 hours. Are you kidding me? But it afforded me time with my husband and time to go out and explore, and fell in love with that too. Tour de France, started painting from when I went to the Tour de France, and they're like, we want to do a show. Let's have that. Can you do our race? And it just kind of tumbled into doing a lot of sports arts from cities and things like that too. So
wow.
But I also have done dated pieces, like for the town of McCall. We had a 100-year centennial celebration for the town, and I did 25 paintings of the history over 100 years, logging and the trains and the just all the history over time. And that was fun too. So it's not that I just love sports.
Right.
I love what they do and what they offer, and the principles kind of embody so much about life. I thought I wanted to just be all spiritual and paint angels and God and all these deep things and levitate off of, the top of a rock or something. But sports really embody the relationships that I made with people at these races, and the people that are part of it, the spectators, the volunteers, the racer themselves, all the things that embody that are principles in life that help me,
it's so
myself.
Inspirational.
Yes, and the people I meet, I think I've grown more and been given more meeting some of these people and personalities and what they've gone through in adversity in their life. There's a guy named David Bailey, and there's a big 8-foot painting of him in my studio, and he was a motorcycle Hall of Fame. And you don't have to be famous. I want to do a show on some women who have gone through adversity too, who aren't famous, and share their nuggets of life to help and inspire other women who have gone through stuff, and then how to absolutely enjoy life and not be a glum lot either. But just the amazing stories I get to hear, like, oh my gosh, David Bailey had been a Hall of Fame motocross to nations champion, and he broke his back and he became paraplegic. And so his story is he went to the World Hawaii Ironman 3 times, and the 3rd try against a Navy SEAL, he finally won it. And then 10 years later, he almost died. He was on a flotation bed. He couldn't be on his back or whatever, because when you're paraplegic, your infection, things like that in your lower part of the body, they take a long time because of circulation.
Right.
But he had lost 100 pounds, his job, his wife, kids, and almost died. And some boy who had also recently broke his back asked him when he started to recover, could you help me practice? I really want to do an Ironman like you did. And in helping this young man, he got stronger, and, and then he even traveled with him to do this World Ironman event to qualify, and the boy didn't qualify, but David did. So David goes back 10 years later, almost 50 years old, and he's thinking maybe I could write a book, or maybe this would be a source of whatever. And the stories of these people are just so amazing. We were like in our bedrooms praying for this guy, because the person that was over, like, I don't know if he's going to make it. It's really hard. It was 26 miles and 2.5 miles swim, and then the 20. I don't know how they do it. What drives and how these people get beyond this. I can't do this. I took a lake plunge a couple weeks ago. I went in the lake at the 34 degrees. I just wanted to do it, and thank goodness we don't have to do anything alone in life. And I asked this kid that Veronica, my daughter, knew. I said, I've seen you guys do that on Sundays. I really want to face that fear, and do that. Would you come and take a picture, or if you want, do it with me? And he did it with me.
Wow.
Wow. And it wasn't you just get to jump in. You have to go out there and suffer slowly as you walk out. Otherwise, you can't take the shock of jumping in, right?
Right.
And then go under, and then stay under. And I'm like, how long do we, have to do this? But for what other people suffer and things they suffer that aren't even brought, like, we can choose to suffer for good things that make us stronger, or we can have suffering come upon us in life, and how do we deal? But the suffering that these athletes do, and that just so amazing. Yeah. And when I went down to interview him, because I wanted to paint him, and he really inspired me, his wife had just left for work. We went into his office. He went to turn the light switch on, and the light bulb burned out. So he rolls over to open the window, and the stick had been broken off, so he couldn't even open the blinds. So after having this wonderful interview and talk with him and meeting him, I go to the grocery store, and I was pooped out because we went bike riding. And I remember looking at all the vegetables like, oh, I'm so hungry. And all of a sudden I realized they're way up here.
Yeah.
They're way up here. I don't have to be in a wheelchair and then put it in my lap, and I just started crying. I went outside and just started crying. That was my light switch. I never have an excuse ever to complain, woe's me, the kids are, I'm so stressed out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But just such a gift to meet these people. And so the sports have kind of helped me as much as, and I basically think my artwork just tells other people's stories, and other people need to hear those stories, whether even if they're a sports person or not. They're just amazing stories. So I just love to tell people stories.
Yeah. Have you been here for the Ironman? Yeah.
I was here last year, yes, and the year before I was here, I did the what was that bike ride? I did the 40-mile, and it poured that day. But,
boy.
Yeah. But, yeah.
The Fondo?
Is that what
The Grand
is?
Fondo, yeah. And I'll probably do that because I'm a weekend warrior.
Yeah.
I'm not an athlete, in that sense. I don't race or anything like that. I go out and I enjoy it. And I did the Tour de France, did Alpe d'Huez on race day. And that was crazy. But it really gave me a respect for what these guys do on television. You have no idea how steep that thing is. When the cameras, they're kind of at the same level of these guys. And when you go up there, there's people slapping you on the
I know. It's
booty
the massive, the amount of, first of all, I'm claustrophobic. So when I watch them take off, when they go swimming in Coeur d'Alene, I'm like, nope. That's right there. I'm like, nope, too many people. They're too close to each other.
In the morning, it's cold.
And it's cold, and I'm just like, nope. And I'm like, I admire them. And then I see them, I live in Sanders Beach area, so I see them drive by, ride their bikes by, on Mullen. Right. And then they run right by my house. So I'm on the race. And we've had people pass out. We've had people go to the hospital right by our house. And just the whole thing is just, we get caught up into it every year.
Yeah.
And just we've had somebody, one woman, the stories. It's the stories.
Yeah.
One woman said, my husband was supposed to be here. Can I use your phone? Because I need him I want him to be there at the end. And she couldn't get a hold of him. And she was like, I think he's drinking. And then she's like, he won't be there. And my husband says, I'll go down there. I'll be there for you at the finish line.
My God.
And so he went down there at the finish line. And I was like, he was there, and her husband had probably been drinking all day at the bars, but, and it just, the drama of she's just gone through this horrible, long, strenuous, amazing day, and she needed the support, and he wasn't there for her, but my husband was. So there you go. But
Yay, Stu!
Yay, Stu! But there's
that's why he's the best husband.
Exactly.
Right.
Kudos for Stu.
That Coeur d'Alene. The Coeur d'Alene Tri, I volunteered and, marked up the legs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
When there was one runner that was coming out of the water, before he went down the water, he took his leg off because he had,
yeah.
And he goes, hey, can you watch this? I'm like, oh, okay.
Watch my leg.
Yeah, sure. My grandpa had one too, so, and he hopped down, and as he came back in, he got up, and I said, how you doing? He goes, I think I did. I don't know. I've never done anything like this before. And I just am like,
yeah.
You're really, thank you, God.
I know.
Right? Thank you, God. Just to go out there and see what people are doing. And, it happens. It doesn't happen in Hollywood in front of everybody. These are decisions that people make in their living room or their bedroom or when they're down or when they, they want to get out of this, right? This imposed, whatever it is, either by our culture or by yourself.
Right.
And there's people out there, you never have to do anything alone. Somebody else is always, might not be the people you want to be there for you.
Right.
But that's something you can never take away. Nobody can take away that from you.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody can they can say what they really can say, but you do. Yeah. You do something, it's its own reward.
It's amazing.
And then you want to help other people do it too. So it's kind of contagious.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, it's Jason from Tubbs Coffee Roasters. We are North Idaho's specialty coffee roaster. We are homegrown and we are local. We love coffee and we love our community, especially Allie and Callie and ArtCast. We have a retail space in our roastery in Hayden, and we can also be found on the shelves at Super One and Yolks. And if you like to buy coffee online, we do offer subscriptions. You can find us at tubbscoffeeroasters.com. Support arts and culture and your local roaster. That's all.
So that clearly is your inspiration. So how does that all tie into your art, and how does that work for you?
How does the inspiration work?
Well, you're telling the stories of the athletes, right?
Yeah.
And you really have to go in and see her studio. It's if you can see the faces and just like it captures a moment that is hard as you're doing it or watching it. It's hard to create that memory or remember it in your head, but if you see it, you have it forever. It's like watching film. It's captured forever.
Right.
So now you've got a painting that has it.
Right.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
So
how do you get started?
Yeah.
Well, it depends. There's some work. Are we on now?
Yes.
Take a break. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It depends. So say if there's a race coming and I'm doing it for, say, the city of Pasadena, and they want to feature their civic auditorium, which is on the historical register, and to me that thing looks like a big boat. It's like Noah's Ark or something. I'm like, oh no, how am I gonna? So usually I go out and I study the backdrop of where the race is going to be and end, ask what direction it's going to come through, kind of study the light and imagine the scene. And I've been to so many races and have experienced, the feelings in the air that you want to capture and things like that. And so I use the real place as my backdrop, and then I kind of embellish it a little bit. If there's buildings or trash cans or whatever, I'll put flags and mountains and palm trees or something like that. And then I look up the riders that are going to race, and sometimes I talk to the race officials and say, who do you think's going to be up front this year? Because a lot of times they win.
Oh yeah,
and they get presented my artwork. Like, how did you know I was going to be up front? I had these little helpers,
right.
Yeah. So, and sometimes I just don't know, and I take a guess, and I'll kind of study the people who have won in the past and who might be a surprise, and I try to get them all up there in front. And that's for like an official event. There's like Amgen Tour California or something that's, Redlands Classic, a bigger events where you kind of know the personalities and the different levels of racers. And so then I try to put together something that would look attractive, which is probably the hardest part is, before you start a painting, is how is it going to look visually, especially not look cartoon. When you're painting with oils, it's not like commercial art where you can grab this, grab that, and kind of blend the edges and have the athlete's face here and then the NASCAR back here, or the runners here and then you have the lake back there. You have to make it has to look sense. Like if it's going to live in your living room, it has to kind of look like a living room oil painting.
Right.
And so that's probably the hardest part. But once I get going, it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I feel like I'm experiencing the race and I'm there. And it's just a thrill. It's a thrill.
So when you're doing an official race, do you do this beforehand?
Yes.
So you kind of dream it up and then you have it at the race.
I give the race an image before it happens. So then
cool.
it's like it's historical mark for that year. And it's funny because it gives me goosebumps because sometimes the last one at Civic Center, they took a picture with the athlete receiving it in the direction that the painting was with the crowds. And I said, I'll be darned. Isn't that so weird?
Yeah.
Am I psychic? No.
You might, right?
Wow. Right? Like, did I have prophecy? I saw that,
Right.
But you just never know. I've done that with my son. And when Christmas we got snowed in. I didn't have gifts for him. My daughter says, Mom, why don't you paint him a painting? So I'm like, okay. So I painted kind of one abstract one, and then I painted another one of him on stage with all these fans and these, lights and everything. And I'll be darned, when he played at the University of Idaho, their new civic auditorium, that thing is gorgeous masterpiece of architecture. I don't know if you guys have been in it yet, but it's next to the Kibbe Dome.
Oh.
I looked at that thing, and then they invited him back for homecoming. They invited him back for the alumni, and I'm like, wow, I'm having a flashback. I painted that before it even happened. So sometimes you just, it's the weirdest thing, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I study the areas, or I might have to put something together that's total imaginative because they want this in it and they want that. And I'm like, you can't stand anywhere in the city and see those two things.
Right.
So I kind of have to move this over here and
right.
put that over there. But it's still a lot of fun.
So did you study art in school? How did it all start?
I always loved art.
Yeah.
Always loved art. My art is in my DNA, I would say. My grandpa's in the Hall of Fame with Walt Disney and Roy Disney, and there is creativity in my blood. My mom is an artist, but I grew up with my mom seeing that she was kind of a hippie, the 70s time, you know, peace, love, dove, and it was cool to be broke and, you know, high and all that kind of stuff, and I did not want that, you know. I wanted to have a good living, and so I got into real estate, and I sold real estate for 10 years and banking for 5, and it's helped. I mean, I feel like God's used everything that I've, you know, the business acumen is so important in art, in art, because when I used to do stuff, we used to have a nonprofit gallery, and when I would tell the people, this is what you need, 3x5, you know, the oil and canvas, the size, framed, ready to go, I would do the invites, the little quartet, the music, and all this. But a lot of times these artists just could not get it together, you know, for the life of me. And they would come in, something wasn't finished and it wasn't framed, and I'm just like, oh Lord, you know, you have to perfect, you know, it's not, I mean, I saw a lot of talent. I mean, that would just, my mouth drop. Some of these young kids were so talented. But if you don't refine, and that's what Otis Parsons taught me too, it says, it doesn't matter how talented you are, you know, you've got to perfect your craft, and you have to act like a professional, or get somebody who can do that for you.
Right.
You know,
So
because, because sometimes it's the people, they're not even the best artists, they're the artists, but they're very businesslike. They have this, they've done that, they have a plan, and you're like, okay, you know, you've got to have that end of it too. So
that's my experience with the artists, and of course, you know, my experience is here, but I assume that it's, you know, everywhere. Artists do not know how to promote themselves. I mean, some do, but it seems like
it's
most
that left
don't.
brain side.
Right. I think they just they get into their craft, and then they expect
It's
that
just
it's
to happen.
just going to happen, and it doesn't happen that way. And we've done a few workshops with artists where we try to train them, and we're going to do that again here soon. But I always say that trying to herd artists is like trying to herd whales.
And some, you know, like my son, he's amazing. He's just amazing. He's a musician, composer, but he just can't, he doesn't believe in boasting about himself, you know, and, you know, scripture says, don't boast about yourself, let somebody else boast about you. That's always the best thing. But there is a level of confidence and being able to speak, you know, not even eloquently, but be well spoken at least in explaining your art, and have some goals and when you're going to have this done, and have a plan, you know. And it would be nice if the arts, if we could offer that to some of these, I would say kids, but even people way up that
just don't know how to promote themselves.
I do think that there's a difference between boasting about yourself and promoting yourself.
Yes.
And I think it I can see how it's kind of a gray line between the two, maybe, but it's definitely different. You should be able to tell people that you have created something of value. So
there's like, I don't know, we're talking about the two areas of art. There's the creative side, you know, and then there's the business side.
Right.
And the business side, I mean, the investors will say, well, you know, we're looking at this artist because, you know, their time consistency over time, you know, they're not a come and go artist. They've improved over time. So they're looking for certain things. I mean, there's even things I've heard as silly as, you know, well, we don't invest in green, for goodness sakes. Years ago, I heard that, and I thought, what? At a Michael Rubin opening, I said, what do you mean they don't? Green doesn't sell well.
What?
I'm like, what? I'm an artist and I'm floored. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I don't like this business world of art, this la-di-da, whatever. Right. And my rules for investing in art is like, look, it's got to appeal to you. Art has a voice. It can go beyond. It can touch our souls, our mind, our heart. It can speak to us in ways that other people or situations can't, right?
Right.
And if it works for you, that's a good thing. It's good art. It's and it's a good investment if it speaks to you and it's good art. That's a good investment. Whether or not an art collector, you're thinking about the long run. If it's a good piece of artwork, it's going to speak to you.
Right.
If it has the wow factor. Because I've walked by a lot of things and it's like, oh, that's so. And I don't want people to say, oh, that's very nice. What you want is like, oh my God, the wow factor. Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
You're like,
oh,
it is. Oh, good. Good. That's what you want. Right.
Hey, ladies, have you heard about NIA yet? Hi, I'm Marilee Wallace, and I'm a proud board member of the Coeur d'Alene Arts and Culture Alliance and owner of NIA. That's short for the North Idaho Alliance. We specialize in leadership development specifically focused in connecting women to programs, workshops, and networking to educate, empower, and enrich their lives. Our goal is to make positive impacts in the community while helping other women in North Idaho succeed. Next up is our annual Onward and Upwards Women's Conference set for May 24th, and our new event, Women with Cool Jobs, scheduled for early summer. And then keep a lookout to register for our super popular Women of Impact Leadership Roundtable series. That begins every September. So I hope you'll look us up. We're at thenorthidahoalliance.com. Find us on Facebook or just give us a call, 208-660-1557. Go out and make it an impactful day.
Let's talk about some of the highlights. Some of your highlights. I'm totally fascinated with the fact that you're like the official NASCAR artist.
Oh.
And I bet you have some stories, with all the places that I looked on your website that you have participated in. I mean, the list was so long I didn't want to print it out because it would have been a book that I would have given us. So how can we talk about that, do you think?
Sure, I've been very fortunate.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, you want to start?
All right. So, you've been into a lot of places because of your art, because you're a well-known artist for NASCAR and Tour de France. What are some of your favorite places that you've been, or maybe some of your favorite athletes? Or tell us, what are your favorite moments because of your art that you've got to experience?
Oh, let's see. Well, I always want to go back to family. Isn't that silly?
No.
Fame, fortune, all the elites and everything. And they're just people too.
Yeah.
They really, I would get up on stage like, wait, you want me to go up on stage too? I'm on national television. And I'm like, okay, I'll hold the painting. I once kissed an athlete that was getting a retirement on the lips. And, when you're in Europe, you go kiss.
Yeah, right.
Well, I didn't know what's left first and what's right. And I kissed him right on the lips, on television. It was so embarrassing. That was probably one of my most, memorable moments because that was very awkward.
Was he cute?
He's very cute. But, these guys are tiny. Yeah. Like, I'm 5'6", and I'm, I don't know. I think probably 125, but I feel like an old woman compared to these young athletes. So I'm sure there's that was total on them. The wives were not even threatened. But they're cute, and I do have to say that going back over there and meeting some of these kings of cycling, just amazing. 5-time Tour de France winners. There's a very small club that have won that thing 5 times.
Sure.
And, I have noticed, oh my goodness, they're so handsome still.
Yeah.
That jawline, as an artist, the way the light hits their face and everything. And I think it's just because when you stay fit and you're athletic over time, they still go out and ride.
Yeah.
Right.
So, let's see. I think when I look back at some of the most amazing times were almost when my kids got to come with me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Funny things that happened with my kids, where I would take my own photos going there because, copyrights and stuff. So I would have my press passes and take the photos. And sometimes my daughter, my son, Tommy, was trying to. So, oh, goodness, just wonderful memories, with my family of going there that made it really wonderful. My feet were swelling up. My daughter's feet were swelling up, so we're switching shoes, waiting for the guys to come through. My son 1 year came with us, and I have a friend who's a photographer for Photosport International, who used to also use my photos for magazines and things. And so he taught Tommy how to pan, and Tommy was 5 years old. So he would be there, and he took a picture of every guy coming by, because John told him, if you get a good photo, I'll pay you $1 for every one I use for a magazine. And this kid is 5 years old. He didn't come in for lunch. He just stayed out there, got a sunburn. By the time we were at the end of the day, we're having dinner, he's having a total meltdown in the restaurant because he was so tired, and bless his heart, and we used I used some of his photos on the Champs-Élysées, because he got some good ones. Of course, digital, you don't waste your money anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Things like that are really special. And the people that I've met that I feel like are extended family. There's some races I did a little bit longer than I wanted to. I felt like it was time. But because I just love the people, and it still was so special, and it was like such an extended family, I would do it for the love of those relationships. So,
what do you think? Where do you see yourself next? You mentioned a project about women. Just tell us more about that.
Well, of course, I want to do Ironman. That's coming here. I hear, this is something that's come back to Coeur d'Alene that had to be fought for to get back.
And it's the full.
It's the full.
It is
year.
the full. Yeah. So I'm going to be painting on that. Probably work a little bit on the marathon as well. But yeah, I have all these other ideas that I want to do. Just because I've met so many amazing people and been inspired by their stories, men and women. But I do want to do a show on women that are that have been through things in their life that are just amazing to me, that have stories of their own. There's a gal upstairs from the Coeur d'Alene Avenue office studio there, and she worked in re-educating women that have been trafficked and rescued, and they go through a program called Evolution. Oh, now I'm going to blank out. See, there we go. It's a program that was designed for women, that you take these online courses. There's about 11 of them, and you graduate, you get your degree, and you're able to start a new life.
Oh, okay.
And the gal upstairs works, her husband's famous, he's a singer in a band. But anyways, they helped me carry in my furniture and talk with me for about an hour, and just made the connection, and then found out what she did. And so I would talk with her about maybe doing a show of maybe a self-portrait or something, and their story, just a very small little blurb about who inspired them, what they found hope in, what now, and then just other women, at Art Walk, there was, it was so funny, because Abby had talked to me about Art Walk, and I thought, maybe I'll just put my sports art up. Maybe I won't put my nudes or figure, because I don't want, there's kids who come through here. Well, I'd forgotten that Cheryl has nudes, and so does, Chris Grubb and stuff.
Sure.
But I just didn't know, if it would offend anybody. So I put them away. And Abby was talking to me before. She goes, this is art, put them out. And I don't know. I don't think I'm going to put. So, So lo and behold, the whole night, my art, the sports is out, and the one person who asked me if I would do a commission for them
was a nude.
Yeah, right? Like, do you do boudoirs? I'm like, and my friend said, Titanic. So I'm like, oh, yes. And I just had to laugh.
That's so funny.
Because here, and she saw the angels, and I had said, there's doing a series on all these angels and coming home and the greeting and all these different things, because there's been a lot of death in my family and things like that, and other losses of people that we know, very good friends, and my kids knew the kids at university.
Oh yeah,
and so
my son knew one.
Yeah, and so I've kind of had those up, and then I had the athletes with their veins popping out and things like that, and lo and behold, I get a Christian birthday. But this woman told me her story.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, these divine appointments. I mean, she's going to have to write the book and tell everybody her story. You know? But she did give me permission to put it in my book and to have it in, the show that I do on inspiring women. And I just thought she first was inspiring because she was a doctor and she's children. She did this for her husband every year. And I'm like, dang, I like this girl.
Right?
Own that.
Yeah, she does.
I want to own that.
That's great.
60s, right?
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, all right, girl.
Yeah.
Like, I want to,
wow.
Tell me how you do that.
Yeah.
I want to get a little bit of that, and I want to show other people.
It's all right.
It's okay. It's good to have that,
Yeah.
Go around like this, stuff in our head all day long. I mean, just bogged down by all this stuff and AI and everything. It's like, spark that little life in you. And what do you do to live? Live and live more abundantly. Right. And that's those stories I want to inspire and encourage other women too.
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah. I do too. Boy, we all need that. I think so. I think so.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next art walk coming and checking out your studio a little, with a little different eye. I'm gonna
and I want to see those nudes.
Yeah.
Let's just see them. Don't hide them.
Don't hide them.
Don't hide them. Or you can put them in the back corner. That's fine. But that's Art Walk. I just want to remind everyone, because this will be out sometime soon. I'm trying to remember when. But Art Walk is April 14th.
Right.
So don't miss out.
Miss it. Yeah. And don't miss the Rockford building, because
it's not that far. It's just literally one block off of Sherman.
Yeah.
You can't miss the big black building.
It's amazing. And, during these times, I mean, I think art is the best kept secret and investment wise that you can make. Everybody's worried about the dollar. Should we buy gold? Should we buy silver coin? What should we do? Everything's going up. And I would rather collect art, good art, because, I mean, statistically, you can Google it. You can see, I mean, it's beat the S&P 500. It's have at least, even through, real estate. When I sold real estate, I've sold real estate for 10 years and banking for 5. Real estate always is a safe investment because it goes through time up and down, but it does. That dirt, it's, it's supply and demand. Right. And when there's no more supply, right?
Yeah.
What else is there?
It goes up. And even if the building on it starts falling apart, you could still rebuild, right? But and the same thing with art. Like with artificial intelligence and all these design programs, there's a guy in my studio that came in, the last art walk was talking about, do you know that there's these design programs and they're going to replace the designers, and do you know that you can put a picture in and it makes a Picasso or it makes a Rembrandt or whatever you want, you tell it will make, like we're not going to have jobs. And at first it just broke my heart, but after I thought, you know what, that means real art, OG, like my son says,
worth more.
It's going to be worth more.
It's an original.
Yeah.
So even taking the statistics of what have happened with art investment, I mean, there's 64 billion right now in art investment in the world. And these are companies too that will buy art and you can invest in them. But I say, buy the real estate yourself, own it yourself, and buy the artwork yourself. Make sure you like it. If you like it and you put it in your home, somebody else will like it.
Right.
You can always sell it for the same amount. It will go up. And now with what's happening in our world, there's not going to be as much. It's hard to survive as an artist.
True.
But it's also a really good investment.
Right.
The creative side is that art is alive. I believe that for me personally, like I have other people's art all over my home. I love their energy. I love their original hand, the inspiration. I feel like it's God, inspired, because that creator, when I'm painting, I know when it's like, oh, that's not right. That's me. Oh, darn, but there's something in me that goes, that's it.
Yeah.
Or do this or do that. what is that?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what that is. Is that God?
Yeah.
Is that the creator?
Yeah.
I mean, the universe is so big. It's so vast. I mean, how, it's limitless, right?
Right.
I get to be connected to that source. And so an artist doing that with each brush or mixed media or whatever, right? That's an original creation, and that energy's in your home, and you get to feel it and see it and know that that's the real thing. And I was kind of surprised, when my grandma died, she lived 104, a lot of the kids didn't want her stuff, her collectibles.
I know.
They'd rather go to Target
Yeah.
or to Marshall's or something and buy just a cheap set of dishes,
And you can have the fine china that your grandma's had.
Right. But the thing is like with art, you might be able to buy a poster, but you walk by in the hall, that's a poster. If you go into an office building and you see a real piece of art in the lobby, you're like, oh,
nice.
They must have, I don't know what.
They did something right.
There's something real here.
Yeah.
It's genuine. It's authentic,
Right.
And I want that in my life. Like cubic zirconians, those are great. They look good. They do the job. But when you know that you have, even if it's a little small, little dime, you got something real in here.
Right.
It's real, like friendships and people and artwork. You go, girl, right? So, third time around is a charm.
Yeah, it is. It's the right one for me.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so great.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming down.
It's
Thank
fascinating.
you guys for inviting me.
Yeah.
I'm so honored.
Well,
we have
welcome
so
to
many amazing artists in this community.
Yeah.
Really, and people who come here, like, what is that town? Is it, I forget what town it is. I'm blanking out, but nobody goes there for the art. Southwest.
Southwest?
Taos.
Taos,
New
yeah.
Mexico.
I kind of think Coeur d'Alene with the...
Thank you very much.
Yes!
That's what I keep saying. We are becoming the Taos of the Pacific
I'm
Northwest.
telling you, I've traveled a
destination.
lot. I've traveled a lot. And there is so much talent here, and there's so much amazing artwork. Like, I was in awe how much artwork there, and the investors, they're going to come here and they're going to suck it up. So
That's
people
right.
who, if you can't afford a big, huge piece of artwork, and look, I don't need to sell my artwork, right? But if you start saving just a little bit and you start buying little pieces, that is the best investment. You can sell that later.
Right.
Nobody's going to, if we go digital with our dollar and things like that, nobody's going to control your artwork. And you can always sell that to invest most people who do have money and have the value. So it's a really good investment, and also just the energy that you're supporting that spirit and that person who is trying to continue to stay connected to the creator and create these things that are beautiful and inspiring and touch people in ways we don't know. It's a different language, but go buy some art.
Yeah, I love that.
For yourself.
Buy some art.
Before all the big guys get it and suck it up.
That's right.
Well, thank you again.
So much,
Thank you,
guys.
Tracy. This was great.
We'll see you
It's a
soon.
joy.
Yes, we'll see you on Art Walk.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Come on.
And I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie, and whatever you do today, make sure it's creative.
And go buy some art.
Yeah.
The Allie and Callie Artcast is a program of the Coeur d'Alene Arts and Culture Alliance and is sponsored by NIA, North Idaho Alliance, a woman-based leadership organization designed to inspire, uplift, and impact your community and lives. And Tubbs Coffee Roasters, globally sourced, locally roasted coffee.